Welcome to the Super Dietability Podcast.
Welcome. In the previous episode, we talked about appetite fixability, learning to recognize and not automatically respond to every urge to eat.
And that creates space. But what happens inside the body after you eat is just as important as the decision to eat itself.
Exactly. Because not all eating patterns create the same internal response. And one of the most important factors in that response is insulin.
Now, we're not going into complex science here.
But we do need a clear understanding. Because without awareness, it's very easy to unintentionally create a constant storage state.
Insulin is a hormone that responds to food intake, especially certain types of food and frequency of eating.
And when insulin is elevated, the body is more likely to store energy rather than release it.
So the issue is not just what you eat.
But how often you create that elevated state.
Many people focus only on calories, but ignore patterns.
They eat frequently, snack constantly, and keep the system active all day.
Which means the body rarely gets a chance to shift out of that storage mode.
And over time, that pattern makes fat loss more difficult, even if effort is there.
This is where insulin-aware ability comes in.
It is the ability to recognize how your food choices and eating frequency affect your internal state.
Not in a complicated way, but in a practical, everyday sense.
You begin to notice patterns. Certain foods, certain drinks, certain habits.
And you start asking, what is this doing to my system right now?
Because awareness changes behavior. Once you see the pattern, it becomes difficult to ignore it.
And again, the goal is not perfection.
The goal is reduction of unnecessary spikes and constant activation.
For example, reducing constant snacking can already create a meaningful shift.
Spacing meals more intentionally allows the system to settle between inputs.
And this connects directly to what we discussed earlier.
Because if you're constantly responding to appetite, you're also constantly activating insulin.
So appetite fixability supports insulin awareness.
And insulin awareness reinforces the entire system.
Over time, this creates a different internal rhythm.
Less constant input, more structured periods of activity and rest.
And that rhythm makes everything more efficient.
Not because you're forcing results, but because you're aligning with how the system functions.
Insulin-aware ability is not about strict rules.
It's about informed decisions.
You still eat, you still enjoy food.
But you understand the impact of timing, frequency, and choice.
And once that understanding is in place,
Your decisions become more intentional.
which leads to better outcomes without constant struggle.
Because the system is no longer working against you.
This is insulin-aware ability.
The fourth of the 7 diet ability.
In the next episode, we'll move into keto switching ability.
Stay in the system.